All right, we are live. Hey, everyone, welcome and thank you so much for coming to our kind of Nationals nutrition and game day prep and competitions masterclass. Uh, I'm real excited to be with you all here on this beautiful Sunday, whether you're watching live or recorded. I'm Coach Tim Thackrey. I am the Director of Education for USA Taekwondo. So I've been working with a few other people putting this together to make sure I can present you some of the things we need to both compete at your best coming up and also especially long-term potential and things we want to do. When I competed, a lot of this stuff wasn't really too dissimilar than nowadays. We start learning things from friends, and you pick a thing from your coach and a strategy that maybe works some, but may have not been the best piece of information. So I want to kind of cut through some of that today. We are not going to go super basic. There'll be a few things I'm going to run through at the start just to make sure that we're all on the same page. But this session, we are not going to break down for 10 minutes what a carbohydrate is and does. We might do that after nationals. That's important. I want to get on to some things that are going to focus a little more on competition and prep and output. Does that sound good? Everyone's thumbs up with that, if that's a fair approach. Sweet. Awesome. We're going to go to the slides here and we'll get cracking. Boom. Okay. Then we already did this at the end. Just so you know, everyone's going to get the ebook, the 100-page guide that I built with Precision Nutrition. That one, if you do have a lot of questions on what is happening here on more base level, that is going to be great. It covers a ton of stuff there that is not the scope of today's session. This is what we want to do. We want to learn to fuel, recover, and compete at your best. That's what we're focused on a lot here today. Next slide. And again, if you have questions, put them in the chat. All right. Here's why this seminar matters. For so many people, you do all this training, you train your butts off, you work really hard, and then we totally slip on banana peels that we threw to ourselves before we even get in the ring. And it matters. And if you're at a local competition, maybe it doesn't matter. We're talking nationals and beyond. Nationals, what's the point of that? To make the national team. What's the point of that? To get international medals. What's the point of that? To then go to the Olympics. So some of these ideas here, you'll see that they are focused, whether it's Poomse or sparring, to make a higher run on some of these things. Poor nutrition, poor recovery, poor performance. We'll get into how that all works together. The goal of this is that you can compete at your best when it matters the most. And for a lot of people, I mean, for me, I ended up making the national team many times after the stuff that it took me 4 times even to get into the U.S. team trials. I couldn't medal at the national championships, and so I had to look really deep and go, why am I absolutely not doing well at this stuff? And it turned out it was all the pieces around my training that I was completely doing wrong and self-inflicted. So I want to help you guys from making those same mistakes. All right. Let's see what we'll cover today. Weight management and final cut strategy. We will get into that again. So if the beginning is a little more basic for you, I want you to hang tight because we'll get into the really good stuff in the second half here. So, but I want to make sure we're all on the same page. What game day fueling is, we're going to focus on sparring, obviously a lot there, because Poomse, once we get that down, it's a much more direct approach. It's not easy. Poomse nutrition is actually really important, and I'll explain why that matters. And then some stuff on kids and masters athletes. The big mistakes I see, there's two absolutely massive ones that I see everyone do it at nationals, international events. And once you start seeing them, it's like, again, this movie's a little dated now, but it's like back when I was younger, the movie Sixth Sense had this line where this kid goes, I see dead people. When I go around tournaments, all I see is people making these mistakes everywhere. And you're like, I wish you didn't do that. You'd be performing so much better, but we don't know what we don't know. So we're going to go over this here, common mistakes, and then turning this into action. Again, everyone can still see the slide. Good, perfect. All right, nutrition is not is a technique. It is a tool, just like learning any of your kicks, just like learning any of the pieces that we want to do to perform at our best. It is something you have to train over and over. It would be silly, and we see it again at local tournaments. We probably see this a lot, that you see the dad in the holding area with the kid, and he's trying to show the kid the new move. And the dad gets frustrated. Why? Kid can't do it. Well, really? You mean the first time you showed this kid the kick, they couldn't pull it off? Wild. No one's surprised by that here, right? I hope we realize how silly of approach that is. Nutrition is the same thing. It's something that takes a lot of training to get it to where it is a stage of what we call optimization, meaning you can control the small levers around what you eat and what you take in, not just on game day, but at the right timing for the right type of energy and output you need for the upcoming matches is a very advanced skill. Right? It's going to give you better focus, better movement, better recovery, so we can go hard again. Right. And this is something that at the base level, obviously, it protects your effort and your body want to stay strong and healthy for years. But at the highest level, it absolutely is something that's going to be the difference between making the podium or not making the podium, making the podium and seeing where you stand on the podium. Which, if you're here again, I always take it. If you're here on a Sunday morning, listening to me talk about this stuff, you're my people. You're the ones that this stuff matters to you, and you want to get into the nitty gritty. All right. So first things first, next few slides will be the basics. This is covered extensively in the Essentials for Taekwondo guide. So if this stuff is mind-blowing to you, please make sure you read that and we hammer it in. When we talk about the phases of optimization at the top, that's the tip of the spear. Nothing I'm going to say today is going to trump this. If these parts aren't dialed in, we could have the great optimal timing, but if you get these wrong, guess what? You'll have nagging injuries. You have lingering under recovery happening where you can't support high performance. Your nervous system will be weak and not able to fire at optimal levels. So this is huge. So people go, what are the supplements? Well, supplements are the end. Sleep is the most important supplement that everyone here can add in. I want to get that out of the way first. Sleep is king, recovery is king, and you'll think, why is this about game day nutrition and nationals? And this guy keeps talking about sleep and recovery. You'll have this ringing in your head by the end of this is done. Stress management is injury prevention. And when, you guys can give me a thumbs up on this, when stress is high in your life, how good is your sleep quality? Good or bad? Usually pretty bad, right? So if we have high stress, and again, all stressors, they're good and bad stress. Our body does not know the difference between a wedding and a funeral, right? And some of you joke, haha, same thing. Yeah. Our body physiologically doesn't know. So training is a stressor. Getting ready to travel for the tournament can be a stressor. That's why advanced athletes that compete regularly, you see them, why are they so comfortable out there? They're not there. If it's your first nationals, I bet you're already having maybe a little trouble sleeping. When we're not sleeping well, our body can't do what? It can't repair. When we're in that stress state, we don't want to eat well. So we go to poor food and we get poor performance. And that is regardless of the game day fueling. Eventually, that leads to a negative mindset because you go, my ankle's been hurting me for 3 months. Why does my knee bother me? Why won't my weight move? And they become the physiological becomes psychological here. Okay. So lifestyle is the foundation. Nothing trumps this here. It's such a massive performance piece. It sounds silly because I remember I was a teenager competing and going, yeah, I'm just going to train some more. And now you go, oh my goodness, I left so much on the table. Okay, recovery is king. This is ultimately all a recovery game. People think it is an output game. All these parts, creatine, protein, all these, they're essentially recovery tools to go harder again, right? Supplements support a dialed-in routine. But the thing I want you to have the most here is this one. The old term is overtraining. The term I want you to understand here is under recovery. In your build up to nationals, your build up to your big event, it is under recovery. What does that mean? Well, like I put down there, training breaks our body down. So after a hard training session, let's say you have your best session. Why and you compete on Saturday? Why would you not have that on Friday night? It's a great training session. If training makes you better, why don't you do that? Why don't you do that right before you go in the ring? Why don't you have a great 4-hour session? It breaks your body down. It's the recovery phase of sleep and nutrition that builds you back stronger, right? And then if it's not overtraining, it's under recovery. People can get to where they run 100-mile races. You see some of the top athletes we have, and you go, wow, they're competing around the world back to back to back weekends. Within days sometimes. They fight on Friday. There's another open attached to a Pan Am Championships. They fight again Sunday, and they win both. And you go, how's that happen? That's volume you can build up over time. So it's not the volume, right? That's totally I don't say meaningless, it's arbitrary relative to what you can recover from. So if someone can't recover from it, you might need 3 months before events. Okay. Uh, Everyone clear on this? It's not overtraining. Under recovery is the name of the game. And our two big recovery tools are sleep. And for the purposes of our session today, is it rhymes with smooth nutrition. Nutrition. Very good. Okay. Basics of nutrition. The full details are in the guide. What I want you to understand is carbs are our energy and output. If you're going to show up to a racetrack, you have a great car, you're an F1. You don't want to be running on biodiesel, right? You don't want to be running on body fat, dietary fats, stuff like that. You need high, fast output energy. There's a place for it. There's a difference. There are simple carbs and there are complex carbs. Complex carbs burn a little longer. Simple carbs are pretty fast, easy to digest. So it's good to understand both of those when we get later in the document when we're talking about timing around events, around actual competition. Meaning when I say events, I mean fight one, Poomsae one, semifinals, that stuff. Protein. Protein does not have energy for you. Okay. In all sense, what we need for this class, it is not a fuel source. It is our recovery tool. So it is massive in the build-up phase. On game day, it's not that big, right? It takes a long time for digestion. That's why it's good to eat regularly. It keeps us satiated, meaning it keeps us full longer. All those things are important, but it's not the optimal fuel source we need on game day. It's minimal. Fats. Dietary fats are different than body fats, right? Having healthy fats in your diet is really essential, especially for females in the sport, whether it's sparring or fighting, for hormonal support. It also gives you sustainable energy. Okay, so water is necessary. Macros matter. Timing and quality of them are important also. Okay, so we'll get into why macros matter. I'll stop real quick. Everyone following along so far, give me a thumbs up or give me something in the chat. We're good. Okay, because I want to get through this stuff to get into the reason we're here, but none of that will make sense if only 3 people know what I'm talking about. All right, fuel timing and meal timing. The first thing we have to be able to do here, and this is all going to make sense in the context of game day nutrition and final weight management here, we have to understand what are our everyday meals and what are performance meals. We get that dialed in, we start to get on track. So this is where I start everyone. We start here, we understand what do I eat when it's just a regular Sunday morning and it's good and I'm 3 months out of a tournament, 6 months out. How do I eat healthy? How do I eat for a really hard training session? Those are different. They are not the same. They should not be the same, right? Because each one has different based on what each of these foods do here. They are different. Fully laid out in the guide. I'll even show you how to use the hand method, meaning you're at a tournament. You understand how many carbs are in a piece, how much protein is somewhere. There's really easy ways to do this when you don't have a scale to measure everything. All right. For most people here, what we call the plate method will be very sufficient for your training. It is great. It makes it easy. I'll show you in the next slides a couple pieces here for that. For almost everyone, this will be where you want to focus. Okay, again, that'd be the second step. We get our everyday meals and performance meals. Underneath performance meals, how much performance do you need? That would be the next question. Is it a light training? Are you going for a jog with your buddies? Are you having a pretty good session? Or are you training with our national team coaches, say like at Talent ID, and it's going to be a full weekend of banger session? Probably different fueling. I think that makes sense. All right. Underneath that, once we have to really make weight at the important stuff where it matters and you have the ability to execute everyday meals and performance meals. You don't just eat because I'm bored. Let me go to, like, if you're doing that, you're recreational and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't believe that's serious. Plate method, I think, okay, you're understanding how to adjust your fueling. That's good. Eventually, when precision is needed, yes, the ability to track. Again, the ability doesn't mean you have to track. It means the ability to track. And the macros here are going to be precise. And I'll break that down next. For kids, they just need the basics. So if you are someone's a cadet, a junior, and you're wanting to perform at your best at nationals, no, you don't need to be on MyFitnessPal tracking every meal. I don't believe that. You need to eat really healthy foods, understand here's what works for training, here's what works for game day, here's what works for recovery, and here's what I can eat just to be happy and well adjusted. Okay. Um, Within this, let's go to our first little pictograph here. Everyone can see these. Right. We have two meals, and this will be the most simple way to start. All right. And I want you to look at these. There is one main adjustment here. We have an anytime meal. We have protein, right? We have fats. We have veggies. We have something with it. It's slow. You eat slowly. You chew your food. One of the easiest weight management hacks I have is chew every bite 28 times. Do it. What happens is you actually start to break the food down in your mouth. Your body produces stuff from your salivary glands to break the food down so it eases digestion in. You also eat slower, and the longer we go, you get the I'm full signal a little sooner, and you're aware of it versus ate it and done. So this left one anytime meal, your workout meal here. What do we notice the difference is? Pretty simple. Less fats, more carbs. Okay. So when we talk about what the first thing we want to do is everyday meals, right? More fats, because what do fats do again? Fats are sustainable energy. If you're not training, sustainable energy doesn't mean no carbs. We want sustainable energy. But if you are going to train really hard, what do we want? We want to be playing in here. So that's what we're talking about is understanding those two pieces first. You get those down, things start to make a little more sense. The next step, we talk about, well, how hard are you training? This little thing of carbs here, is that going to be sufficient for someone training at a high level for nationals? Probably not, right? So now we look at a little more detail here of how we can adjust a plate. And you'll see it's pretty similar. We still have the protein, veggies, higher here on the carbs. This is a moderate training, okay? And everyone will get this full slide deck here. So if you just want to take notes, and well, that's all good. I mean, you can screenshot whatever, but I want to make sure everyone knows they're going to get everything here. Increasing the carbohydrates, right? Let's say now it's a really hard session. What do we notice here now? There's more what? There's more fats? No. There's more protein? No. Protein is pegged. Boom. Protein's that quarter plate. Protein's that quarter plate. Because protein is recovery. That's our thing. We keep it. We dial that in from the start. We know how to recover your body because recovery is king. And then it is now optimizing how much energy do you need? When is that event? So now we can get into some timing strategies here. But if you leave here knowing that carbs match my energy output, it's really hard. I get more, it's less. I'm going to take in less. Like, you know that recovery is the game. It is not output. Recovery supports it. You're doing better than almost everyone that I lived at the Olympic Training Center with 25 years ago. That's just the truth. Okay, so far, recapping this piece here, right? We have the different type of basics of nutrition. We have now fuel and meal timing. We understand that the plate method for most people will be a massive upgrade. A massive upgrade. Doing MyFitnessPal, tracking every macro is like teaching a beginner a jump backflip kick. They might do it. They do it pretty poorly. Certain things are harder there. Like if you have 8-ounce uncooked steak, cooked, do you guys know how many ounces that converts to? If you were tracking it that way, do you know how much? It'd be 6. There's a conversion when things are cooked versus uncooked. So again, that's why that gets a lot harder, and that affects the macros and our macronutrients. Let's see, here we go. Okay, now we're going to get into a little more focus on nationals nutrition here. The first thing we have to do, you've got to get this. I would like everyone to have one of these at the start of every cut. It's absolutely necessary, in my opinion. The reason is the scale does not tell you everything. Right? We think the scale, let's say someone weighs 150 pounds. They want to compete at 140 pounds. Okay? And so what do we say? You've got to lose 10 pounds. Right? Easy. Hey, it's done. Numbers in, numbers out. Great. Well, one, how many calories are in a pound? It is 3,500 calories. Okay. Are they 140 pounds of high muscle, 140 pounds high body fat? They have low water, high water. These things, I'll show you how we get this information and why it's so critical for the long term health of individuals. So, if 3,500 calories are in 1 pound, if it was 10 pounds, is the goal then to burn 35,000 additional calories? Think about that. If you can burn 500 calories per session, let's say, an additional 10 pounds, if you're going to do it this way without knowing the numbers, you're trying to tell me you're going to burn 35,000 divided by 500. What is that? 70. So you'll do 70 additional sessions. A little wild, right? Numbers don't make sense. So understanding here is what we're going to do. Secondary issue. That's first. We don't understand losing fat, losing body weight. Second one is people start getting their weight down. Let's say this person wants to be 140 pounds, right? From 150. So they stop drinking as much water. What's wrong with that strategy? They drop some water and they go, Coach, I'm down to 147, 146. They're 2 months out. At the end, what do they have to cut? Nothing. They already got rid of their water, right? If they have to do some extra sweating or something. So now let's say they're 2 pounds over and they've got rid of their water because they didn't know their metrics. And I'll show you in a second what that looks like. They're supposed to burn 7,000 calories from exercise, burning body fat the day before weigh-ins. I hope that sounds as insane as it sounds to me when I say it, right? It's insane because it's impossible. And we see people, what happens is we get into this more in a minute. They're there and their weight's close. You ever have a teammate that's like, I'm only a pound and a half over, and they go, that last pound and a half won't come off. They're running. I'm not sweating anymore. Okay, so here's what happens. So I say food and hydration timing is an advanced edge. These two metrics here are an in-body scan on the left and what a Hume Health Scale is on the right. Okay, the in-body are very expensive. The test is cheap, but to buy one for your home is very expensive. They're thousands of dollars. But what it gives you down here is how much weight you have, your skeletal mass, muscle mass, body fat percentage, and water. The Hume is a scale you can get for about $200. I would recommend everyone, if you are gonna say, I want to go on this adventure and cut weight, and do it. And I've been cutting weight. I was in weight class sports my whole life. I wrestled and I did taekwondo. So I cut weight way too early, did them all wrong. Okay. Here, the Hume scale is this on the right. It's one for your home. It costs $200. You can do it daily. The in bodies are hard to do daily because they have businesses. The Hume, see here, I see my weight. I see how much body water I have. My mass, how much body weight I am without fat, how much body fat I have. So here, what would be the initial goal we want to do? If I understand my water weight and I understand my body fat percentage, and I'm 150, this person's 149.9, that worked out well. I wasn't planning that example, but man, that worked out great. So let's say this, they're 150, want to get to 140. And they have 13.8% body fat. I'll stop the show. Oh, here, let me see. Yes, can see me here. Good. So they're at 13.9% body fat. The first question I got, and someone emailed me this, what is the optimal body fat percentage for a taekwondo athlete? And what's the correct answer? It depends. There isn't one. We get averages of everything, but you are an N of one. You are N equals one. You might be taller, you might be shorter, there's no, this is the perfect one. My thing is, are you improving? Are you performing well? If you are winning the world championships, guess what? You did it right, and you're not having the side effects of lingering injuries, bad mood, right? Not enjoying the process. If you're enjoying it, your body's healing, you're getting stronger, you're gaining lean muscle, all your lifts are going up, you're running faster, and you win worlds. Do I personally think you're at the right body fat percentage? Yeah, I do. And some people may disagree, but There's not a, this is the type. Your type is you performing at your best. That is the part that matters the most to me here. Okay. So with that said, if this person's, let's say, at 13.9% body fat, and it's a guy, we'll say it's a male athlete here, just for example, them at 18 years old to get to 10% body fat, total, like there's no real issue with there. There's no real, as long as we don't, those are the things we're looking for. Bad mood, lingering injuries, right? Desire goes down, right? And I don't really want to train. And those are signs that your body's giving you signals, okay? So if we get it down, let's say in that 4% now, they've lost 5 pounds, 6 pounds. Now they're 144. We didn't do it from water. What happens if they cut that from water? Let me pull that screen back up here. I'm going to share that again. Here we go. I'll share it for you. All right. Let's say they cut that from water, right? And they go, coach, I'm great. I'm also 144. What happens at the end? They got no water to cut. They already dropped it. So now they're running and there. The second thing we have to understand here on this, I track it. Here we go. It is, okay. The other term up here, I thought I was going to have it on here. Let's see if I can see it easily. On the left one, on the in-body, it will have what they call your basal metabolic rate. And you'll see on this left in-body, it's kind of hard to see. It says 1231. 1,231. That's for this person. I wish I showed it here on the right one, but the Hume scale will give you your basal metabolic rate. This is the other reason this is so important. Let's say at 150 pounds, this person's BMR is 1,500 calories. Okay? Your basal metabolic rate is how much you burn in a day without activity. I mean, if you just sat in bed, your body would burn how much? 1,500 calories. Okay? So great. So now we add in some, easy movement, your training, whatever. Let's say you're at 2,500 calories total you're burning in addition to that. So we know now for maintenance that if you take in 2,500 calories, what happens? You should be even because we're supporting, again, our carbs are matching our output of training. We're there. So now we want to drop. Okay? And everyone goes, okay, then drop to 1,500. And you'll burn 1 pound every 3 days that way. But our body's smart. Our body goes, oh, you're not burning as much. I'll burn less too. I'll drop less. And so then what happens is we get into this cycle of your body slowly shutting down, which is what you see these people happen to, and we're going to learn how to avoid. Okay, give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. I can dive deeper there on that. But that is one of the big traps. Thank you there. Someone wrote on the screen. Shouldn't have been able to. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. There. Okay, so what I said here is all of these are the information we need there. What your body fat is, what your lean muscle is, right? How much water you have, intercellular and extracellular, meaning how much is in your muscles, how much just in your body. Those things matter a lot for performance. Okay, and then what your BMR is, what your basal metabolic rate, how much you burn. You go down to 1,000 calories, people think they're smart, only taking 1,000 calories for this month. What does our body do? Is your basal metabolic rate 1,500 anymore? No, it drops. So now it's like at 800. So you're still at a surplus, and now you're just carb dumb, and your training stinks. You show up to the ring, and you're horrible. Okay, so we want to avoid these. Here we go. First thing we'll talk about specifically is PUMSE, and we'll call it non-cutting sparring for nationals. Why would I consider those the same? I consider those the same because you get to fuel for output purely, right? For performance, meaning your body comp is the body comp that helps you perform at your best. You with the best kicks, the best training. And I mean that. PUMSE and non-cutting sparring is the best. It's the best fueling opportunities. You will get your optimal performance. Okay? The reasons for that are you get to keep muscle glycogen storage high. When our muscles make contractions, where does that come from? Does it come from our wishes Does it come from you know, us our no, it comes from the glycogen storage. That's going to come mostly from carbohydrates. Okay, so that's why we want those in there. We also could do things like we have a high fast output energy system. That's creatine. That's CPATP. Okay, we can take things like creatine regularly, which if you are in non-cutting or if you're in PUMSE or if you're right, creatine is absolutely something necessary to take. It's one of the most tested supplements in the world there as far as it being safe. Uh, the long research always showed about 5 grams a day for athletic performance. What the new research is showing is that 10 grams a day or even more have both now cognitive benefits, right? For 20 grams, some of the most recent research shows even anti-Alzheimer's benefits. So you follow the spectrum of the stuff of what it does. If we need to perform at our best, high nervous system function, right? High athletic output, but you may retain, again, because there's water in your muscles, you may have additional muscle storage there. But if you're in a weight class you're cutting down, it's hard to do both. Okay, so that's why I say that. The other advantage for PUMSE and non-cutting sparring for big events, you can actually lower your volume before the tournament. Why do we lower volume before the tournament? Right? Why don't we go train more? Well, if it's a recovery cycle, volume and intensity are diametrically opposed. You can't sprint a marathon. You can't sprint a mile. You'll listen now and you'll hear your friends go, I just sprinted a mile. You'll go, you just what a mile? Like you ran really hard for a mile is what they mean, but they did not sprint a mile. Can't do it. They also can keep protein levels very high for optimal recovery and rebuild. So again, the goal here, what's the goal? Stay here as long as you can. If you're going to build a racehorse, you want to win the Kentucky Derby. Its first year of competing, do you starve that horse? I don't believe so. If the goal of that racehorse is just to win its first race and then quit, yeah, I mean, do what you want. But if we're talking about creating the ultimate Taekwondo athletes here, PUMSE, sparring, whatever, when they are young, keep them here as long as you can. Right? I hope I'm being really clear on that. You get to focus on power, right? Power, actual power production, actual output. I mean, increasing our body's ability, whether that's mobility, strength, and these things, they need the right fueling for them. Our nervous system develops, right? The harder training we have, it actually helps our brain develop in a better way. Okay? Helps our brain develop. Our brain sends signals to our body to make what? To make our muscles contract back to that high muscle glycogen storage. And it sends electricity from our body to make our muscles contract fast. That will burn out over time. If you are minimizing any of these, it burns out faster. Okay, so say it with me. Stay here as long as you can. It's good. You get better. You love training. It is awesome. Does that make sense, everyone? On this part, again, a few of these, I want to make sure I'm a little obtuse on it, just because they are so overlooked. Because we don't know. We think we need to keep our weight low for a thing, and we may not. There was a time for that to come, absolutely, but may not. And again, what does it say here is exactly what to eat, though, for PUMSE. You say, well, tell me what to eat for PUMSE. That depends on you and how your body runs, depends on your in-body scans, how far away you're out. It depends on what type of training you're going to have that day and where you are and what your level of learning is. So I can't say, oh, PUMSE athletes is broccoli, a piece of tofu, and this, and a sparring. That's a very silly approach, in my opinion. That's silly, right? It just doesn't work like that. Right? Just like you can't say, what's Taekwondo? You do a bunch of kicks and punches. Sure, you can, but I don't think so. Okay, so PUMSE non-sparring for Taekwondo, this would be where we want to play. That is always predicated on these ideas here and going back to what we can execute. Now we're going to start broaching into weight management. Okay, let's go over here. Here we go. Cadets and juniors. Tread lightly. Get clear before you start this with you if you're going to do this. And I did not do this. Again, I competed in wrestling and taekwondo, cut, from, I mean, I was what, 103 pounds, like cut to like 94 pounds when I was 15. And it was a normal thing because like, it was normal. And what happens? All the sides that happen. It's miserable. It stinks. Not super fun. No one's guiding it. Like, I do this weight cut. I remember it was when the stuffed crust pizza came out. So that night I ordered a stuffed crust pizza once I made weight. And guess how bad I fought? Yeah, it wasn't super. I wasn't good in the first place. So doing that didn't help. Okay, but get clear with parents, support staff on what is okay, what is not okay, and where to pull the plug. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you're not hitting your metrics, we say, hey, this far out, you're here. At some point, you go, this, we don't have the habits, skills, mindset, routine, and beliefs to do this. I'll say that again. To cut weight properly, it takes the right habits, the back of the lifestyle doc, habits, skills, mindset, routine, and beliefs to do this. If you are missing them, you're going to hit a hurdle, and it may be that you were good, but you couldn't execute the plan. Okay, it was a habit thing. Was it a skill issue? Was it knowing what to eat, the wrong timing? All those things come up. If you pass this, what I want you to do next is focus which main events to focus on. All right, is Coach Tim Thackrey's Backyard Rumble 2025 the event you want to focus on to cut weight? I would say no. I would say no. And this is coming from I literally invented the rumbles because of this issue. Was too people are doing all this. I wanted to fight and help people get better without the downsides. So that is why I see this. There's a problem there. We need to do it. Winging it can have long-term effects, right? What we happen is we get weight creep. Cut 7 pounds. You're like, I want to fight states. I want them to go here. And then now you're up 7.5 pounds, right? You cut again. Now you're 8 pounds because we're cutting it wrong, right? Now, eventually you're up in a different class, but it's not because you gain more muscle. And so our body starts holding on to everything. Why? Because our basal metabolic rate, that thing we got from the Hume scale and the InBody scan, starts to downregulate. It goes down over time. It's hard to get back up. The goal is to get your BMR as high as you can. Again, write that down. If you have a notepad, say the goal is to get my BMR as high as I can. Why is that? Because if we do have to cut, it can be fast. Or well, right? If your BMR's, let's say 3,000, couple days of it's done. It's over. It's not these week-long thing and all these side effects that come with it. I want you to actually ask your athlete this question. This is a real thing. I say, if I want to cut weight. Okay, cool. Are you better off being happy, well-fed, and with more energy? Or are you better off being a little weaker? Because you will be weaker cutting weight. Doesn't mean you're weak, but relative to you at your best, right? You're going to be a little weaker. That's just not up for debate. You might say, I did it great. Yes, you did it great. Yes, you won, but may not have been the optimal you could do. If they're okay with that and they say, yeah, I'm better off in this weight class. Okay, cool. The next thing we want to do is decide how short and unmemorable can this weight cut be? Short and unmemorable. What does that mean? There's no great story. I did this. I have a friend. This is a real story. 2001 is how old I am. We were at the World Cup in Vietnam. Cut 17 pounds the day before. We had to drag him out of a sauna in Vietnam at 5 a.m. because weigh-ins were at 6 a.m. that day. We weighed in the same morning. So he made weight, right? Ripped his hamstring when he got third at the World Cup. I believe he ripped his hamstring pretty bad that day because he was so dehydrated. It's so fast. Still got third, but he was obviously good enough. I think he could have got first. But now we have a story about that 24 years later I'm sharing as a cautionary tale. So we don't want that. We want it to be short, unmemorable. Boop, you did it. And you're there because you're focusing on competing, not making weight. All right. Thumbs up, short and unmemorable. That is the goal with weight cuts, especially as you're younger. If you do have to adjust some weight, we do it. What are the first things we adjust? Well, let's go back up to who wants to type up in the chat. What would be the first things we want to do? Drop water. Ideally, it would be getting in your optimal build and dropping body fat would be it. That's why for kids, like it's like I don't want to focus on it with kids. Just be healthy. But you get to that level if you are not at the optimal body composition for your sport, yeah, we do that. And that generally does not involve losing muscle. Muscle is the holy grail. I don't want you to be 140 pounds with 10 pounds less muscle, the same amount of body fat. That means we did it really wrong. Okay? Muscle is what we call metabolically costly. It takes more energy here. It increases your BMR to keep it on. So we want that. That means you burn more. That means you can eat more food in the day. When you eat more food in the day, what do? We can train better. We're living here. We're living back in this area. So that's where we want to stay as long as we can. So if we do need to adjust it, we need to know the numbers. Know your numbers. Everything will make sense. Or more sense. Okay. So cadets. So here it is. Let's see. Let's go to masters athletes. Masters are on the other side of the spectrum. Right? For masters athletes, meaning people my age, more, they're not in that kind of senior division. The next one we'll get into the seniors, kind of like the real like here's how it goes stuff. For them, digestion and actually specific foods are key, and the reason is everyone has little allergies to different foods. Some foods can cause inflammation, cause digestive issues, things all the way down to what they call leaky gut, to where you take in protein for recovery, but your body doesn't absorb it. And that's not great. Because you think you're taking in 50 grams of protein, but your body only absorbs 20. You would be then in the under recovery bucket for a meal, not for a day. 50 grams is insufficient for a day, but you get that. They also have higher sensitivity to stressors. Like we said in the beginning, all stress is stress. Good stress, bad stress, training stress, and lifestyle stress. So an athlete at the academy who gets to train full time versus me, the full-time job, a wife, 2 kids, I have a higher amount of lifestyle stress. So how much training stress can you give me? Just a little bit, right? I can't handle as much because stress is stress. A full-time athlete, you go here, right? When I lived at the Olympic Training Center, they'd say, you want some more stress? Go to sleep. Come back tomorrow. But that's how you can build really incredible athletes. So for masters, that is harder to do because they have usually full-time work, family, and other obligations. Also, stress has metabolic and hormonal effects. Also for female athletes, both are important. What we want for masters is understanding which specific foods they can take in, which ones don't affect them the most, what they need here. And then we want sustainability over intensity, because for them, sustainability is what supports their intensity. Sustainability is what, right? Yes, cortisol. No, I'll take that back on I got a comment here. Cortisol is a pain. Yes, potentially. Cortisol is our stress hormone. Okay. Produced, right. Well, I'm not going to get Mr. Wizard here. Cortisol is our stress hormone. Let's stay there. And it's important. Cortisol imbalance is the issue. When stress is too high, our body's producing cortisol. But if someone's kicking you in the face, guess what your body should produce? I would like the cortisol. I want to move. If a bus is coming for you and you're in such what they call the parasympathetic state, this is rest and digest, where we want to be most of the time. Back to that Poomsae non-sparring cutting slide. You want to be there where you train, good, rest and adapt and recover. If I'm there and a bus is coming for me and I go, oh, wow, a bus. Not it. You need to have that. But that's on game day. And it comes up in a second in our slides. We want to get up for that. That is in that sympathetic state. That is the fact that because we can lower our cortisol, we're able to raise it when we need. You have to have that happen. That's back to what was our first slide? Lifestyle, sleep. It's not overtraining. It is under recovery. Okay. Our body produces cortisol naturally throughout the day, but mostly around when? Let's go back to that sleep slide. I'll pull it up. Here we go. Let's go here. Where is it? All right. When does our body produce most of the cortisol? If you sleep poorly, everyone does that. When do you start tossing and turning? Around 3 to 5 a.m., right? When does our body naturally try and get up? Around 5, right? So our body's stressed. What happens is we miss the early part of our sleep cycle because we can't get into a deep sleep. We miss the healing hormones, specifically things like growth hormone that help us burn body fat, increase bone density, and repair. And all we get is what? The cortisol dump. We wake up, and how focused are you when that happens? Not at all. So we reach for the 2 C's. What are they? To get energy in the day: caffeine and carbs. But we're not reaching for carbs because it's our training day, right? We're reaching for them just because we need some fast energy. So now we're up and down and up and down all day. And ultimately, we're lacking what? The piece I talked about, the lifestyle piece here, the recovery piece, but the habits, skills, mindset, routine, and beliefs to carry out these higher level focuses. Does that make sense, everyone? Give me a thumbs up. I don't want to go too deep on that, but it was a clear point because on it, that was a really great thing you commented. I generally agree with you, but I want to make sure that caveat there is important. High cortisol also does what? It down regulates our basal metabolic rate. So we burn less. So now, high stress into a tournament, it suppresses that, and we wonder why that calorie cut isn't working like we thought it was going to. In fact, my weight stalled or gained. Okay, so there's a lot to this. We'll do more of these after. I mean, I think this is more valuable than even I was putting together. Talking to you guys has been very, very helpful to see what we need to do next for it. So for masters, that's why that is the case. The truth about cutting. Let's get into actual weight cuts. Dun dun dun. The thing that so many people wanted to hear. Now I'll finally get to the point here. Final cuts, meaning that last part, not the weight management, not getting the body fat off to your ideal training weight, not getting these. Those things have to happen. There are phases to this. We increase training volume. Right? So that way you can help burn more and support more eating. All these things are there. That final part. It should be short, focused, and unmemorable. Cutting too early, like we've established, can ruin your ability to drop at the end. Why was that? You already got rid of your water. I thought you had 4 pounds of water left. We're planning on cutting that, meaning this is a high level athlete. This is not a cadet looking to, like, again, we already went over cadet, we went over these pieces. We're talking about a high level athlete here. And if I got their body fat down, I got their calories down enough, their weight's coming down, and let's say it's a couple days before weigh-in. And we go, okay, I don't want to cut muscle. We've dropped body fat to the lowest safe area we can. And I look at their in-body stuff and I say, or their human, I say, good. You got 6 pounds of additional water that we can lose and have it come back quickly and no issue. Great. We have the 4 pounds there. It's no problem. But what if they already cut that? Well, we got to start burning some body fat, right? We got to start. Where was the slide here? It's somewhere. Okay. Too many slides. There we go. If not, now we got to try and cut 4 pounds of 3,500 calories, which is 14,000 calories I'm expecting you to cut in the last 2 days. Impossible. Or you get so dehydrated, we're carrying it out of the Vietnam sauna. Both of those are not recipes to compete at your best. So we went over this a bunch, right? Cutting calories too far drops your BMR. You may have to do that, but we don't want to do it so much. I mean too far out, right? Cutting water too early, you get that false sense of I'm only 3 pounds off, but you're not 3 pounds off because you already pulled that card. You already played your best. You already pulled your draw 4 card, right? You train worse. We do this over 2 months. Your training is worse. You burn less. You lose muscle. You lose athleticism. Increasing volume. Also, at the end, you should be increasing intensity. So if you have to run 5 miles the day before weigh-ins, you just increased volume, not intensity. So it's not the greatest, right? Ultimately, we want you to eat more and move more, and that goes back to lifestyle, keeping room. So we finally do that. We finally get on weight. We weigh in. It's short, unmemorable, right? We understand we got our body adjusted. We got it down. We know all our healthy levels of where works for us. We're not getting lingering sides. How do we weigh in now? Okay. The first hour after weigh-ins, right? This is really critical. So many people get this part up. What do you see everyone with in the weigh-in line? Type it up in the chat. What do you see them with? Bag of Doritos, right? Huge, all this stuff. The things they're waiting to eat. The issue here, let me see what some people are saying. Uh, yep, yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. Chips. I see chips all the time. Yep. Yeah, 100%. Right. So that's not what we want to do. Within the first 15 minutes, we have to keep it small. The reason is that the weight cut at the end, if you had to train, like yourself, and you're trying to get the water down at the end from training, uh, cutting some water down if you water load up or down. It's mostly going to be that's what we want to lose at the end. It's very again. I hope I made it clear. It's very hard to lose body fat from a caloric standpoint at the end. That's what happens over months before getting us to our optimal training weight. That last part, again, 500. Has anyone here ever burned 2,000 calories in a workout? I haven't. That's hard. That's really hard. So again, to think that the day before you're going to lose 2 pounds from the actual workout effect is very hard. It's going to be water, right? I mean, some variation of this. Lower carbs actually help get rid of some of the water because carbohydrates keep water in our muscles. Back to that muscle glycogen slide we had. So there is a digestive stress that happens in cutting weight. So what we want to do is we're looking for people to not have diarrhea in the first hour. That's a big sign the weight cut went bad. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. And bloating. I've seen people bloat up, fingers look like little sausages. It's not great. Like it's a rough go round. It's hard to fight well. So what we're looking for is electrolytes and water. If you guys like that, I really like the product LMNT. My wife's the one that does all the supplement hacks in the family, so she turns me on all the good stuff here. We want that. We want a little potassium and glucose for optimal absorption, right? We don't want complex carbohydrates here. We want things that are very simple to digest, easy on the gut. I don't want a big steak. I don't want chips can be hard. All that stuff, we don't want that. So it's water, 12 to 16 ounces, depending on your size. It's not a lot. People go, I want this. You just cut a bunch of water. You just had a hard few days of cutting weight. Okay? And I'm not talking like, oh, I didn't have breakfast. If you didn't have breakfast, it means you did awesome and you're in a great spot. This is like, hey, I had a hard cut. I'm refueling. 500 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium by the LMNT, 200 to 400 of potassium, milligrams of potassiam. There, so I say what that is. What we want to do now is we're going to wait 10 to 15 minutes. And everyone goes, that stinks. Yeah, I know. You do the crime, you do the time. Okay, we got to wait and do it. What we're looking for is digestion. You're not going to get nauseous. From here, you wait those minutes. And now we're going to have another pound of water or so in electrolytes and then simple carbohydrates. Like I said, white rice, banana, things you can digest well. Yeah, things you can digest well. These are ones, am I getting these at the venue? No, not only if you have a death wish. Like that's like you do all this stuff. You made it through the maze, man. You're here. Bring it with you. Okay. That's step one. Step two, when I say watch out for diarrhea. If you're good and no digestion issues, then you can start eating. Side note, your stomach may be sensitive for about a week, but we can slowly and go over this on your cut. So hopefully if it's slow, it's not a big deal and you did it properly. Your first snack, so we had that little bit of food. About 45 minutes later, what we want is more simple carbs to replenish the glycogen. Simple carbs will get absorbed into our muscles quickly, right? We need that to start happening as soon as possible. So that is one of the biggest focuses here. That was all depleted. Okay? That's why I say the Poomsae non-sparring people get to do it the best, but they don't have to deal with this aspect. They can do optimum glycogen storage, optimal fueling the whole time. Okay. Number three, step three, this is your second meal. If you've done that, wait a couple hours, again, no upset stomach, no bloating, no diarrhea, you can have your first real kind of like meal now. Yes, I'm aware of the 5% potential random weigh-in the following day, so keep an eye on that. Generally, I want 20 to 30 grams of lean protein, depending on weight class. Why don't I want super high protein? I thought Tim said protein is king. Recovery is king. Why not super high protein? Protein takes a lot of effort from our digestive system to break down, and it is not a fuel source. Okay? Protein is the long running game. Over any one day, if your protein's off, like it's fine. It's a long through line, right? The specific focus here is we actually want high glycemic index carbs, not low. We actually want it higher. The reason is our body absorbs it faster. Okay? People think they want this steady, not initially. Initially, you want that to be absorbed quickly because athletic performance is the priority. All right. Limit fried food, oily foods. It slows the absorption of carbs and protein in your stomach. It can also cause bloating in there. So again, back to that part of why the masters athletes, that's such a bigger priority. There's not a lot of kids that I meet, unless they have specific like Crohn's disease or something, that have digestive issues. Adults, almost everyone has some sort of like, oh, I got a thing. Like, that's just what happens, man. So the more we understand that, the better. From here, once you do that, then you would individualize and say, here's the exact food, here's the exact amount. But these are the pieces we're looking at for that. Okay, so we've made weigh-ins, we've done that. It's that night. Again, if that's fine, if you have plenty of time, you can do it again. Let's say you don't have random weigh-ins. You could do this every 3 hours. You could follow this formula and your money. Okay. Let's get into game day prep now. It's actually the game day. And so this will go a lot for back to Poomsae, back to everyone here without that big weight cutting caveat. Fueling is part of the game plan. You have to bring your own foods and fluids. Okay. I want you to know this. If you eat at the venue, you are saying, I don't care. Food at the venue is for the adults. And again, the people that aren't, like, that's fine. I mean, I wouldn't eat at the venue anyways. And I don't know if USAT gets a cut of what you guys buy at the venue. So I don't care. I'm just going to tell you the truth. Man, it'd be a bad go get real, go bring it, go prepare. Just like you're not going to the tournament and like, oh man, should I go buy a uniform today? You have your uniform ready. The same thing. It's a skill. Nutrition is a skill. Bring your stuff. I want you to know what to eat and when to eat, because digestion is king. It's what your body can absorb and digest matters more than almost everything. Yes, the nutrient stuff matters, but if you can't digest it, I don't care how good it is for you. It wrecks you. That's because you're an N of one. I don't care what the average says. I care about what you specifically can take in. This is a skill that we practice at Rumbles, seminars, and local comps. You don't start, oh, I think this national, I'm going to do this new warm up and this. No, we practice that. Practice it at big Saturday training. And eating on game day is an advanced skill. Raise your hand if you can eat well on game day. You can exactly what you're supposed to. Raise your hand if you really struggle eating on game day, whether it's Poomsae, sparring, whatever. Most of you should be raising your hand. Yeah, exactly. The two biggest skills that I see athletes at the top level separate themselves by is they can eat on game day and they can sleep between events. Right? They can do both of those. That means they control their digestion and they control their nervous system. That's pieces you need to pull from when it gets hard later in the day. Okay? Game day nutrition part 2. Just like we say, we only can train what we can adapt from. We only eat what we can digest. After this, yes, throughout the day, longer burning carbs, right? We don't need lower fat. We don't need a lot of fat. And moderate protein, because protein is not a fuel source. It takes a lot of effort to digest. Go have a big meal. What do you feel in your stomach? All the blood goes here. I don't want blood in your stomach when you're competing. I want it in your limbs, right? We don't want it there, pulling up. Breakfast on game day may be the only good meal you have. So if you're at a venue out of town, We may not be able to control what we have. Breakfast, you can control that there. Okay, so make sure you get a good breakfast. Back to the digestion part. Once you get to the tournament, easy movement. I don't care if you compete at 2 p.m. You get there at 9, do some light mobility. It's going to help with digestion. Otherwise, blood will pull up in your gut, right? We don't want that to happen because the digestion, we don't want right? I say here again, eating during game day is an advanced skill. Fueling at the right time is a champion skill. And there's a massive difference when it gets down to where it matters. And now we're a ways away from those initial parts of like, what is a carbohydrate? What is my meal plate here? That's why those skills are so critical. Okay. If your metabolic system and your digestive system are messed up, all you're going to be able to get is easy burning foods, and you'll be the champ at 9 a.m. Right? Morning is good. You're crashing at night. We don't want that. Right? Snacks, yes, you should have them set, and you should be practicing them at your training sessions at Rumbles. So you know exactly these are the snacks. You bring them with you. You put them in your suitcase. You don't wonder if the local event's going to have it or if the store, the stuff. Not at all. Okay. Pre-event here, I want higher, faster burning carbs. Simple carbs are okay as long as the timing is right. Okay. So let's say a gummy bear. Technically, 30 minutes out, handful of gummy bears, is that the worst thing in the world? Not really. It's not really. But what if you're 2 hours out and that's all you've had? You're gonna crash, yeah? You're gonna crash. So again, the timing of this matters. Now, what timing works? One, it depends. But for most people, I'll say generally 60 to 120 minutes gets you time to digest it. Right there, you don't have a bunch of food in your stomach, and again, then it's going to mess up a lot of things. But test it in advance. You need to know exactly, like, I ate 60 minutes before. That was my thing. Is it exactly 60? No, why not? Because you can't control exactly when you walk out to the ring, whether it's sparring or poomsae. Might be 90 minutes, but I know generally where it works, right? Little protein bars are fine, but we don't want protein bars that are high protein. You want like an energy bar, like a Cliff Bar would be better than say like a muscle milk bar. Right? I love like those David bars are popular. They're great. Why is a David protein bar? Everyone familiar with this? They're wonderful. You should have them in your backpack. Eat them. They're great. High protein, almost no carbs. That's not game day. That's general lifestyle. It's a different thing. So again, things that we think are healthy and good may not give us the optimal fuel for when it matters, right? The other ones are good. Those gel packs, like Cliff Bar gel packs, those can be really good, especially for people that have a hard time eating. But they're ones that marathon runners would take in, and they're basically just carbohydrates. So look at those stuff, practice them, fuel for the upcoming event. Meaning, if you have a fight at 10 a.m., fuel for that, but don't do it at the cost of your 12 p.m. fight or your 8 p.m. fight when it's finals. You have to be able to fuel properly now, and then later in the day, do it well. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. Questions on game day nutrition before I transition to the next part. Simple carbs, foods and electrolytes, proteins, and yeah. Again, I don't want to say no protein, no fat, minimal. That's not. It's just not the focus. Is it there? Yeah. Like I mean, we don't need, let's say for general training, if you were in that poomsae / non-sparring, sparring non-cutting weight group, I would love for you to eat 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. That means if I'm 160, my minimum target for me is 160 grams of protein. That's wonderful. I don't need to do that on game day, right? It's a lot of work. Can you eat lunch on? Yeah, you absolutely. If you can have lunch, if you can eat, yes, you should be able to do that throughout the day. That's why you have to practice that. What inhibits it is our nervous system being so up. When you're in fight or flight, you don't want to eat, right? You don't want to eat. What should you have after your fight? As soon as, whether it's a fight, let's say you have semifinals you have a finals later in the day, the same structure of an event or rest and event. What do we want to do? We got to get some water in us, right? Probably lost a lot of sweat out there, electrolytes, but also then we need simple carbs to replenish. Again, so it's kind of that cycle going around. Are energy drinks okay for game day? I'll go back to what I just shared, and I'll give you a story here, right? Fuel for the upcoming event, but not the cost of the next event. Okay, so energy drinks, are they fine? Hey, when you've got to pull that hammer, does Red Bull work? Yeah, but what happens after that? So again, I'm not going to say no. Like just react. Like, but do that also some people? I had a girl I coached back when I had a taekwondo team, and she was 13, and her dad gave her, and she was very nervous at U.S. Open. So what did her dad give her before the fight? 5 hour energy. And how much did she throw up in the ring? A lot. Okay, and how good? Like so, usually that's masking something else. I would ask you and challenge you. Why do you think you need that energy drink right there? Were you not able to eat well? Not able to get the food in? Do you not bring the right foods? You don't have like what is off? Can you not sleep? It's back to these pieces. Did we solve it with the lifestyle part first in recovery? Did we practice it at local tournaments? If we train this stuff, it should be a skill just like everything else. Did you have to increase volume right before the day because you didn't cut weight properly? So now you're exhausted, right? These almost always come back to some area that we did not fix or solve. Almost always. Does that make sense how I'm looking at that? I'm not saying no, right? I had plenty of Red Bulls when I fought. Plenty. So again, don't take this as me saying like, I would never. I totally did. But I also know the sides, okay? I've seen it. So there are better ways to do. Question: are granola bars or protein bars okay on game day? Yeah, I would love. A protein bar is not bad. Just we don't need to go crazy high, no carbs. Just keep it balanced, or something more like a Cliff Bar, where you're gonna have a little more of a carbohydrate source for you for the day if you can digest it. Other questions on that part, and we'll turn around to the next thing. Let's see. Okay, so just more questions. All right, I'll go to the next slide. Uh, any area anyone wants me to go back over here? I'll take us a quick recap. Hopefully, it all makes sense now. Why I structured it this way for you. Right, nutrition matters. We hopefully that everyone that's here, you're here because you know that it does. Right, we cover that stuff. The big piece in the beginning. Right. Oh, so do this for me. We didn't do this. How many calories are in, type it up in the chat. How many calories are in 1 gram of carbohydrates? Type it up for me in the chat. I see 8. Great. Thank you. Let's see everyone else type me up some. I see 8 again. I see a 5. This is why it matters. I see another 8. Wonderful. Good. I'm going to give 7, 9, at 9, 7, 36, 42. Hike. Carmen is the champion here. Carmen says 4. Martel says 4. Exactly 4 calories in a gram of carbohydrates. So that affects now when we look at our fueling and back to what we need to understand about our basal metabolic rate and how much foods we can take in. So you see how people want to skip and just cut weight and they have no clue what they are doing, and then the sides become massive, and then it affects their desire to train and do this stuff. Hopefully I'm laying that on as thick as I can. There are 4 calories. So now let's say someone's taking in 2,000 calories in a day and they want 40% of that to be carbohydrates. That would be 800 calories of carbohydrates or energy they need, which is 200 grams. Okay? That's just a simple example. That doesn't mean for you to take that in. I'm just telling you how the numbers work and how we figure that out. Then we divide around how much you need pre-workout and post-workout. And for weight cutting, where do you think most of our carbohydrates should go? We're back on that weight cutting phase. You're still training. We're 2 weeks out. So we've cut calories down some. Where should most of our carbohydrates go? Morning, night, training, fun. We want almost all of them around your hardest training session. Pre-workout, yes, because that is your jet fuel again. So I'm going to stack them over here. The rest of the day, now what do I get? Protein and fat sources for sustainable energy. Okay, see how we can kind of start to solve these things once we understand your numbers, what the fuel does. Question number 2, how many grams now are in 1 calorie of fat? I see 10, I see 9, I see 10, I see 5, 5, 8. Very great. This one, I'm going to give the thumbs up to Steve L. I think got it first, got 9. There are 9 calories in a gram of dietary fat. Okay? So what that tells us, a lot more calories are in that, right? Over 2 times the carbohydrates, but it doesn't give us fast energy. It's slow, long burning. So that's why we have to also be careful of how much dietary fat we take in these times because our calories can pop up. So 50 grams, again, if I said 800 grams was 800 calories was 200 grams of carbs, 800 grams, 800 calories of fat is a little under 90 grams of fat. So the numbers can jump very fast, and we don't know the numbers. We take it in, we're not sure. Last question, how many calories are in 1 gram of protein? Type it up for me here. 3, 5, what's right? 15, 4, 7, 4, 12 is 4. 1 to 2, it's 4. So it's 4, write this down, 4 calories per gram of carbs, 4 calories or 9 calories per gram of fat, 4 calories per grams of protein. Okay? But now, again, if my goal, let's go back to what we said at the beginning of lifestyle. If the goal is to have a gram of protein per pound of body weight, back to put my trusty slide here, back to that one about the Pumse and non-weight cutting sparring athletes, that would be the greatest place you could be for long-term athletic development. We want to stay there as long as we can. And if I'm 160, that means 320, 640 calories are going to come from protein. Okay, so those are the ways we want to adjust those levers and look at them in that weight cutting phase. But without knowing that, without knowing the scan, I'll pull it back up again. I hope everyone jumps out here and gets the Hume scale right now. Without knowing these parts here, we're absolutely guessing on how much to take in. And then we say, I just eat less. That would be the same as your coach going, just kick harder. That's about as hard as I kick, man. I've been trying to kick as hard as I want it more. This is as much as I want it. Like we're getting in the realm of wishes. Wishes don't have data to them. That's why they're a wish. Once you can connect data with it, it can become a plan. Right? If you tell me you want to buy a yacht, we can say that's silly. I would say, I want to come on your yacht. But I would also say, is there any data supporting the fact that you're going to buy a yacht? And you said, yes, I opened up a savings account and I put $1 in it. Hey, it's starting to get real now. There is you have some sort of metric along the way. Other than that, we're going, want to buy a yacht, make more money. Hey, cool plan, dude. I want to make weight. I'm going to eat less. Hey, cool plan, dude. Awesome. I'm sure it won't backfire. We went through our meal plates, right? Initial one to focus on is adding carbohydrates to your pre and post workout meal. We need that. From there, we will start to differentiate between how hard you trained, hard train, and what's the big adjustment here? Type it up for me in the chat so I make sure you guys are learning this stuff. The amount of carbohydrates. Yeah, exactly. That's the big change. Let's see. Next one, get the scale, get the Hume scale, please. If you want to do this moderately the right way, you've got to get, even the InBody. The InBody is hard. It's very accurate, but it's hard to get access to them daily. The Hume, you can do it daily and it will give you on their app a weekly average of what your weight is. Averages matter more in the long run. That's the trend. You want to know what your average is. Any one day, weight's up and down. Okay? From here, right? We want all the averages out there to figure out what works for you. You want to stay in the poomsae and non-cutting sparring as long as you can. Does that make sense? Why this is going to develop the best athletic profile? Poomsae sparring, whatever. You eat the best. We're not shrinking you down. Everything is great here from athletic performance. Cadets and juniors have that conversation around what works, what is that actually needed, what is enough, how do we know we're on track, and can it be short and unmemorable? Masters is about digestion and stress management. Uh, don't cut water early. I'll quick cliff notes for everyone. I know some people came late. Don't cut water early. Don't do that. Leave yourselves all the tools at the end to cut at the end. Okay. Don't understand your BMR refueling cycle, looking for digestion, get some electrolytes and some potassium back in you, and then simple carbohydrates because we have to replace glycogen stores. That's hour one. Meal two, right? Same thing. Keep protein low to moderate, not crazy high. High GI carbs, not low if we want to absorb muscle glycogen again. And then game day prep. Don't eat the venue. Bring your foods. Know that you can digest. We want complex and simple carbohydrates. We need both to burn long throughout the day, but also have a high peak. We need that stuff there. Eating during game day is an advanced skill. Fueling at the right time is a champion skill. Okay? Finally, know when to have your snacks, know when to eat, know those parts there. Work your way towards that final event. So again, fuel for the upcoming event, but not at the cost of your next event. What to do next? I have a performance assessment tool on my website. Go to www.timthack.com/tools. You have to do the www. For some reason, I set it up bad because I'm not a tech guy there. So go there and you'll get my performance assessment. The thing, I actually read it and I'll see where you're at. I have meal plans. I have nutrition guides. I'll make sure everyone here, I'll email you after this is done with the link to the precision nutrition guide we talked about, that 100-page ebook that I helped create. That's on my site also for you. This all will be stored online in our university live course. So every month we have our Olympians there and our world champion poomsae athletes, national team coaches run live training sessions for you. We'd love you guys to join here. This is what part of this is going to be stored in. We have a Netflix style database with over 2 years of stuff there of all the trainings. Will Eric Gunn return? Yes, he's competing right now at the World University Games. So he's a little busy, but Eric Gunn, 50-time world champion now? I don't know. I'm able to gas him up. He's great. But he does live sessions. We have our top people doing it. Follow that link. I will email you. You guys like Calfani do one? I'll ask Calfani. Calfani's a dude, man. Yeah. All our top people do them. And you get access to the best of the best. And these people are legit and they're my favorites. So follow that link right there. Let's see if I can put it up in the chat. If this works, I can copy from my PDF. And we'll go to a quick Q&A. Boom. Look at that. And then my link, if you want the guide and that stuff here, and I'll email this out because I have your emails now. So I'll email you this link. What next? And then finally, I said, what to do? Hey, if you're at Nationals, say hi. Don't be weird. Right? I hate that. So walk up, hey, Tim, I was on your thing. And I'll say, cool, and we'll talk about this. It'll be great. You can email me. Tim@juicecompound.com is my direct email. You can follow me on the gram. You can slide into my DMs on the gram at TimThack. I have a Facebook group where we talk about this stuff all the time. It'll redirect you to Facebook because the URL is long. Just go to www.athletecrew.com. Let me see. I'll put these up for you in the chat. Here we go. Boom. And we'll get to questions here, and then we'll close her up. Boom. Okay, stop sharing the screen. And okay, maybe 5 minutes for questions. I know we said 45 minutes. We're about an hour and a half. First question: was this valuable to everyone here? Was this a useful session? Thumbs up if it was. Let me go to gallery view. Awesome. It was great. We had 100 and we had almost 500 people register. I think we had a few hundred people attend today. So thank you all there. And that's freaking great. I'm gonna get a screenshot of this. That's how we do this. Awesome. Okay, Lewis has a question. What's your question, Lewis? Or anyone, type up your question. I don't know if I can give everyone voice just because everyone start talking. It's too many people. So good question to have. Yeah, time for maybe three questions. So give me in the chat and we're good. What food should you eat for breakfast on game day? Again, specific foods. I'll give you the type of foods to look for here. It's in the guide. Let me see if I can reference it. Uh, Game day. Here we go. That morning, we want things that are going to be really longer burning carbs are really good. So if you're at let's put ourselves you're at the hotel. What does the hotel have? Hopefully, it has a decent morning breakfast. So potatoes, like hash brown potatoes, really good. Eggs are fine. I have a personal rule. I don't eat eggs on game day. And it comes from a time where we all stayed in really bad hotels and they would have like the continental breakfast. And those eggs are not okay. Those aren't really eggs, in my opinion. And I had a friend eat them and it didn't go well. I was sick all day. So I literally, since I've been a teenager, I've never eaten eggs on game day. That's just my own superstition. You can eat them if they're fine there. But that's why I prioritize digestion over everything. A little bacon's fine. Again, that's gonna be a higher fat source. That's fine. Again, protein pancakes. Yeah, it's fine. Again, you don't need to go crazy on the protein on game day. High on protein the rest of your life. We get into game day that day, longer burning fuels. Practice that at rumbles and local seminars. Let's see. What time do growth hormones grow for teenagers? Around 12 to 2 a.m. is when our pituitary gland, which is what gives us our pulses of growth hormone release. We have pulses throughout the day, but around 12 to 2 is the greatest pulse. So that's why if you cannot get into a big sleep cycle, you are not going to recover. You're not going to repair. Growth hormone is for repair and recovery. Oh yeah, Jack. Oh man, Jackson's a dude. Thank you. Says, do your muscles really explode if you don't have protein right after a workout? Yes. The rule is get protein within 30 minutes of a workout or your muscles will explode. It's not the truth, but you will remember it forever now. That is why, because training breaks our body down and it's the recovery cycle where we come back stronger, right? That's what we want. So no, they don't actually explode, but yes, you should get that in because we need to be in that phase where we're getting our protein as the goal. One of the first things I do when I work with people, I peg your protein, meaning I'm trying to figure out what protein level do you need. Carbs and fats, we adjust. It's for everyone. For growth hormone release, that's everyone in the world. We are governed by our circadian rhythm, right? That's how it works. So you're all going to have most of your GH release around that time. That's why if you cannot get into good sleep, someone asks, when does 11-year-old growth hormone? I could name every single age, and it's going to be the same. This is the time. That's why if you don't get into good sleep, if you're not into deep sleep by then, you're not going to get it optimally. Okay? Okay to have a cheat meal after your finals. Great question. I don't call it a cheat meal. You're not cheating. Don't look at food as punishment. Don't look at I don't use that term. It's not a thing I personally believe at all. Can you have a fun meal after? Yeah, dude, tournament's over. If you got to weigh in the next day, be careful. But if you have time, again, if you didn't totally wreck your metabolism by down regulating how much you burn all the time, you should be able to eat that and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Okay. Let's see other questions. Recommend senior athletes track macros for maintenance. A great question, Andrea. What I recommend that, especially for adults, everyone do at least a cycle of tracking like that at some point. The goal is so you don't have to track. Some people love it, they do well, but I don't. I hate tracking macros. Is it really important if I was going to try and say I need to be 127 pounds on this day? Yeah, it can be an important skill. But for long run, I don't love it. I'm a plate method guy. I'm a plate method in hand. I know protein, carbs, fat, right? This is a serving of protein. This is a serving of carbs. I need 2 servings of carbs. This is how much fat. I take these with me everywhere I go. So if I'm out at a tournament, I know how to eat. Super simple. It's in the precision nutrition guide. I'll teach you how to do the hand method, teach you how to do the plate method. So yeah, so for tracking macros, it's good. It gets cumbersome. It can, but it's a good skill to know. That way you can get off of it. Let's see. A couple more questions. How do I manage the time I go to sleep at with mixed time zones? Yeah, you have to adjust. You have to start adjusting sleep schedule and sleep cycle. A trick I would do is the day before I fought, I would try and get up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. No caffeine and no nap. I have to stay up all day. So what happens at 9 p.m.? I'm exhausted, right? A little tricky one. Let's see. Scale that I recommend is the Hume Health Scale. And someone typed it up. I don't have a code for you. I'm not an influencer for them. I should have had one, but it's that good. I'll make sure people know this is not a oh, come buy Tim scale thing. This is like this scale is that good. Just go get it. Let's go get it. Time for one or two more. Awesome. Yeah, yeah, Castellano probably. Uh, that scale is good. I haven't personally used it, so I'll just talk about the Hume scale I personally use it. I have it on my phone right here. Pull it up. Do. Yeah, you see, I have all my stuff right here. It gives you all the things. I have my where's my body? It has like again, I can track all this stuff. It gives you all the distribution and everything. It's really great. Question from Clarissa. Thank you for being on here. Does water loading hurt performance? No, it does not. I'll say water loading is an advanced skill because water loading means there's going to be a part you drop water drastically. That is a very effective way to do it, but it also means that people have to have, say it with me back to the beginning, habit, skills, mindset, routine, beliefs to pull it off. Get that stenciled on your arm. Do I have the habit, skills, mindset, routine, and belief to do this? So it is an advanced skill, one of the most advanced ones, Clarissa. And for anyone here, you hear about it all the time. People blow it up. They think they can do that in lieu of getting to an optimal body composition weight, in lieu of knowing their in body scan or their Hume Health Scale data, in lieu of training right. No. It is the last piece on top of a piece. You build the mountain first, and that last little part is what's going to be helpful. Right, Hume. That's the scale. Should referees be concerned about this in regards to performance and safety of competitors? William, that's a great question. Yeah, I think everyone should be. We want everyone to be healthy and to compete again, right? I want you to come back, have a good time. We want to grow the sport. We want everyone to have a wonderful time doing this. So yeah, when you see people, I mean, absolutely getting dragged to weigh-ins, like, is that their prerogative? Meaning, if you're an adult and that is how you choose to weigh in, that's your prerogative. I'm not going to tell you it's a free country, and I'm not going to say I don't think you're allowed to do that. For kids, yeah, I'm going to pull you aside and be like, hey, I'm not okay with that stuff at all, right? But if you're an adult, like my buddy was on, like he did that. It was an insane way to make weight. There, he did not fight at his best, right? But you're an adult, so for that, yes, we should all be concerned. I think the goal is growing the sport, so that's why doing this stuff well and healthy and properly matters so much to me. Otherwise, you see someone's good and they burn out. Everyone's seen this, yes? Good athlete burn out. Good athlete burns out. Why don't we grow? Good athlete burned out. Oh, is there a pattern here? Is there a pattern? Um, could sleeping between matches substitute for eating? No. Again, you don't have to sleep between matches. I'm saying you need to be able to bring your nervous system down. And if you're fighting from 6 a.m. is the start of the day, last fight's at 9 p.m., and you might need a little nap at some point, or at least to be able to go, okay, right? Like those are at least there. So you don't have to sleep, but you can't be up here for 15 hours. Impossible. It's that same thing that people think that I'm at 100% every day. You're actually at 80%. You need to have up and a downtime. That's how our bodies go, right? So that part's critical. Let's see. Anyone else's questions? I mean, at age is creatine a supplement to start. I mean, they show even younger. There's lots of research out there. I really don't want to give specific info without knowing anyone's things, but I'll say this: creatine is the most tested, besides protein, probably second most tested supplement in the world as far as safety and efficacy. That's why I feel so confident talking about it in a mass setting and not just I've done your stuff, I know your info, and you're one of my clients, and I do these things. That's great, but here, yeah, it's good. Teenagers generally are really fine. Even younger, they show stuff that smaller amounts are really good. But as a post-pubescent teen, I'd say go for it. Let's see. Anything else here? One last one. What do you got to do to eat right all the time? I'll leave you with this. Eating right is subjective. It is what is your goal? What does your data say? What are the things you can execute properly? And what do you need? Okay. And what do you need there? And so once we do that, then it becomes a specific plan of you being an N of one, meaning you are different, right? Martell is different than Natalie is different than Zachary is different than Clarissa. That's, you know, how it's going to be. Is keto a good idea? Keto can be a great idea for a lot of people for overall health. It can be in a phase. It can work really well. It is generally not ideal for athletic performance for most. For some, it can be. There are caveats to this. The ketogenic diet is a low carbohydrate, anti-epileptic seizure diet. How it started. People can experience good weight loss because, again, if energy, carbohydrates don't match, it can be very helpful in a lot of ways there. But generally, I would not say that is if I'm saying this is the all things equal, that's how it goes. We want carbs if your body can process it, if you are not, potentially insulin resistant, if you're not potentially, on track to having high A1C, type 2 diabetes, etc. Then, yeah, again, we get optimal body, we're fine. But are there phases where that may be something people need to address potentially? Yeah, recording will be up in the university for everyone. I'm going to email everyone the document here for today's slideshow. Thank you all so much for being on here. Let's do this again soon. Yes, maybe I'll think of something for next Sunday. We did something next Sunday. Would that be helpful? Maybe we'll see. I'll see if I can think of something for you all. Say hi at nationals. Say hi at tournaments. Give me a follow on the gram there. If you have follow right there. If you have more questions, hit me up there and I will talk to you all soon. Okay, let me hit the recording.